Alright, what's up guys? So today we're going to be doing another water-based pomade review. Today's product comes from a Sixty8 Provisional company, the Heavy Hold Pomade line, the water-based edition. So all I really know about this company, it's a pretty new company. For their Heavy Hold Pomade line, there's also an oil base, which I'll be doing a review later on. But let's go ahead and see what this company can offer in terms of their Heavy Hold Pomade line. So first we're going to go ahead and take a look at the can, the application process, and of course how well the product actually lasts throughout the day. So let's go ahead and take a look at the can right now. Alright, so the product comes in a pretty standard plastic container as we see with most water-based pomades. It's 4 ounces, you got your black lid, clear body, label of the company name and what the product is on top. You got your sticker thingy on the bottom. All it really lists is the ingredients, the manufacturing location, and a little caution label. So one thing I do find that's missing is the directions on how to apply the pomade. I was wondering if it was, better to be applied dry or maybe a little towel dried or whatever. But that's a little minor inconvenience, but that's expected with, a minimalistic design. So when you open the actual can itself, the product is a very dark blue. It's very thick. It's not in any way like lotion-like or anything waxy or oily. It reminds me of a very thick peanut butter consistency. So as you guys can see here, sorry for my dry hands again, but the product itself isn't very oily in any way, or even watery for that matter. But let's go ahead and see how it actually does for my hair. I'm kind of afraid that the product might tug a little bit, but let's go. One thing I didn't mention when I opened the can earlier was that this product has no scent. On their website it lists as none of their product lines having any scent, which is nice if you want, your own unique smell, like any kind of cologne not to be conflicting with, your pomade. So scooping this out of the jar, as I've said, it's like peanut butter. It's thick. It's actually really hard to rub through my hands at the moment. It's almost like, it's actually like grease at this point, like actual like bike or motor grease. It's very thick. It's actually really sticky. It reminds me of like, the Elmer's glue when you use when you were a kid. It's like to the point where it's like I can actually feel my hands like freezing up. One thing I'm kind of afraid right now is that the product will pretty much pull and tug on my hair. The website did say to apply it to dry hair, and I don't really know why. It might be a little easier if you guys use, a little bit of water to help the application process, but that might be scary because that actually might, ruin the actual water-based pomade's, its performance. So right now, it's a pretty tough process to apply. It's not as smooth as I want. Yeah, so right now it actually it hurts a little bit, but it's weird. For it to be a water-based pomade, it's got a thickness as if it was like Dax, Wave and Groom or Murray's. So right now I've used about 2 scoops worth, or 2 fingertips worth for today. Definitely 1 scoop might have been enough, but just to be safe, to actually test the product's, capabilities for the whole day, I'm just going to be using a bit more than usual. So this product has been advertised to be used for a very tight slick back or a very high pump and a very strong hold, and that's pretty much what I'm sensing right now. So the product so I've used this product twice. Of those 2 times, my hair has dried out and it's hardened a little bit. I don't expect this time to be any way different. But I just want to give you guys a heads up, as we'll see later on in the durability test. So combing this through is going to be a little bit painful. It's like reminiscent of the days when I used a lot of Murray's. I think water would have been a little bit helpful, but whatever. I'm just gonna stay in line with how the product is advertised. Holy moly. Alright, so one thing I should have done is comb my hair a little bit before applying the product, but considering that every morning is a rush, I'm not going to have time to do that. And as expected, I did lose a bit of hair on the tug, but right now, after you finish combing it, it does feel pretty smooth. So let's go ahead and actually see how it forms the pomp. Sorry. Ooh, that's ugly. There you go. So one thing to note about this product, it's got a pretty good amount of slickness to it. It does remind me of Suavecito in that it provides that slickness, but it does eventually dry up, as I'm already noticing. One downfall about that is that you'll start noticing strays later on in the day, but given how much of the pomade you actually apply, then maybe you'll see less. But for the majority of the time, there's never going to be enough pomade in your hair to hold everything down. So today is just going to be a very loose pomp. I'm getting a good sense of control from the product. It's lost its initial sheen just because I think that's from the water. And now that it's dried out, you're left with like a very matte, very kind of like a natural kind of look to your hair, in a sense that there's no shine or greasiness to it. One thing I do notice already is that my head feels like it's got a pretty tight hold to it. As I've just mentioned, it's Suavecito in nature in that it dries up, it does harden a little bit, and that's something that's not very favorable, but if you wanted a crazy amount of hold, I think that's where a portion of it actually comes from. So given the amount of, I guess, looseness, we'll see how good that hold is for this product. It's so far so good, but give it maybe, let's say, 6-7 hours. I'll see you guys then, and we'll see how the product does. 9 hours has passed. What I feel about the product so far, it just reminds me of Suavecito. Yes, it's a heavy water-based pomade, gives you a very good control. What the control comes from is, or where the control comes from is its properties of drying up and hardening. So my hair hasn't shifted too much that I've noticed to the point where, yo, I need to restyle this. But it comes from the fact that, the product has pretty much frozen my hair in place. I don't see this move, like my hair moving in any way, until I basically wash it. And that's, that just reminds me of Suavecito way too much. I'm not too fond of, the inability to the inability to restyle. I can't do that with this pomade. Either I would have to use water or more pomade to get my hair in the correct position. But overall, that's not something I ever want in a product. I wanted to get it right the first time and basically last me a good solid part of the day. Overall impression of the product, yes, good control. It's like holds your hair in place pretty much all day, but the inability to restyle, there's no like, you know, standoff property of it that distinguishes this product from other products. All I really get is, okay, it's another heavy water-based, you know, pomade in the market. And maybe for those of you who want to try this pomade, maybe it's better for, you know, a higher pomp, something that you want to control like curly or wavy hair. For me, it's working pretty well. Everything's held down right now. I do notice a couple of strays, but that's because I was wearing a headset during the day. So that really ultimately depends upon you and how you want to use pomade. What I don't really like is the essence of drying up, hardening, and my hair just feeling like it's being gelled up right now. So hopefully you guys enjoy this review, and until next time, I'll be reviewing the oil base. Peace.